All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating paradox. Imagine this. You've got a world-class education, you've worked at the most advanced AI labs on the entire planet, and yet you're totally stumped by the most basic questions of starting a business. It sounds wild, right? Well, this is the true story behind Perplexity AI, a company that was basically born from its founder's own confusion. So let's just jump right in with a question for you. Think about it. If you went to a top university, you'd expect to walk away with some serious advantages, right? A powerful network, a little bit of prestige, tons of opportunities. But what if AI is about to completely flip that script? Aravind Srinivas, he's the CEO of Perplexity. He argues that now that knowledge is pretty much instantly accessible to anyone, those old advantages, they're starting to fade away. And he's not just talking theory here. He knows this from his own very personal experience. I mean, this guy has a PhD from UC Berkeley. He did research at OpenAI and DeepMind. You'd think he'd be set. But when he went to start his own company, he was completely lost. He realized he didn't have that network to just call up for advice on super basic stuff, like how do I set up health insurance for my team? It's kind of crazy when you think about it. And that personal struggle, that moment of being totally stumped, it actually became the foundation for his entire company. It was all born from this one very specific dilemma. See? On paper, a background like his should mean you've got this powerful network, endless connections, right? But the reality for Srinivas was totally different. He had no mentors he could just pick up the phone and call for real, practical advice. That in-the-trenches kind of knowledge that you just don't get in a PhD program. So yeah, in his own words, he was completely perplexed. So what do you do when the exact tool you need just doesn't exist? Well, if you're Aravind Srinivas, you build it. It's that simple. Faced with this massive information gap, he and his co-founders didn't go looking for a human mentor. Nope. They decided to invent one. They built an AI specifically designed to give them the direct, trustworthy answers they were so desperate for. And that became Perplexity. Okay, so what is this thing they actually built? It's important to get this right. It's not just another search engine, and it's definitely not a simple chatbot. They've really created what you could call an entirely new category of AI. Yeah, so Perplexity doesn't even want you to think of it like Google or ChatGPT. They came up with a totally new term for it, an answer engine. And its entire reason for being, its whole focus is on one single thing, giving you accurate, factual answers to your questions. And this is the key part, proving exactly where that information came from. And they're super transparent about how it works. It's pretty straightforward, really. You ask a question, the AI goes out and scans the web, pulling from relevant, authoritative sources. Then it synthesizes all of that into a direct answer. But here's the absolute game changer, the most crucial step. It shows you its work. It provides citations for every single key point, almost like a perfect academic paper. But this commitment to accuracy, it was definitely not the easy path to take. In fact, Srinivas was told point blank that it was completely the wrong way to go. And this leads to a really pivotal moment in the company's story. An investor, and get this, a former Googler, basically told him, your product is boring. He said the real path to success, to a viral product, was to embrace the AI's mistakes. To literally make hallucinations, when the AI just makes stuff up, make that a feature for entertainment. The advice was clear. Chase virality, not truth. So right there, he was at a crossroads, a really clear choice. Path 1, the viral path. Lean into the AI's weirdness, its mistakes, and turn it all into entertainment. Path 2, the perplexity path. A relentless, almost stubborn focus on accuracy and truth, all to build user trust. Well, Srinivas chose the boring path. He made a bet that making people smarter was a much better mission than just making them laugh for a few minutes. And this choice, it points to a really profound shift in how we should think about knowledge. When answers are basically a commodity, something you can get instantly, the real value isn't in what you know anymore. It's in what you're curious enough to ask. Srinivas is convinced that the people who are going to thrive in this new world are the curious ones, the ones who use AI not as a crutch, but as a springboard to ask even more and even better questions. But as you can probably guess, this whole quest for truth, it doesn't come without its own set of very, very modern challenges. Srinivas's whole philosophy on this was really shaped by these tough moments. Like this one time when Ilya Sutskever, the co-founder of OpenAI, just bluntly told him his PhD research ideas were all wrong. Ouch. But instead of getting defensive, Srinivas just embraced that uncomfortable truth. And now he tries to bake that same truth-seeking attitude right into his company and, of course, into the product itself. But here's the catch, right? There's always a catch. If your entire mission is to scan and synthesize all the information on the web to give people answers, well, you're inevitably going to run into a conflict with the very people who create that information to begin with. We're talking about publishers and journalists. So this creates a pretty natural tension. On one side, you've got publishers who are understandably worried that AI is profiting unfairly from all their hard work. On the other side, you have Perplexity, who argues, hey, we're just citing our sources, just like a research paper would. And they're trying to find a middle ground, proposing solutions like sharing revenue. They say, look, a healthy news ecosystem is essential for everybody, including us. Okay, so let's zoom out a little. What does all this actually mean for the future? I'm not just talking about for founders like Aravind. I mean for all of us. You'd probably assume a tool like this is mainly for, professionals in wealthy countries. That was my first thought too. But the data shows something completely surprising. A full 50%, half, of Perplexity's users are in developing nations. And they're using it to do incredible things, like running businesses and conducting serious research. In some cases, they're completely leapfrogging older technologies and jumping straight to the cutting edge. And that really points to a whole new set of skills that are becoming must-haves for everyone. It's really not about memorization anymore. It's about relentless curiosity. It's about being efficient in how you learn. And most importantly, it's about getting really, really good at asking the right questions. And really, this is the core idea of the whole story. Srinivas argues that the biggest mistake you can make is to leave a great school or a great job thinking you have all the answers. Because the people who truly change the world, they're not the ones with all the answers. They're the ones with all the questions. So here we are, in an age where answers are cheap. They're a commodity. And that means the power shifts right back to you. The real advantage, the thing that will set you apart, isn't having all the answers. It's having the best questions. So that leaves just one thing to consider. Now it's your turn. What will you ask?